Okay, so our speaker for today is Fortune Wobidi. He is known for his charismatic demeanor. He's a personal brand clarity coach and digital branding and marketing consultant sold out to helping young personal brands find their voice, maximize their potential, and turn their passion into profits, leveraging the digital media. In the past 5 years, he's worked with a laudable number of business and personal brands within and outside Nigeria in helping them use social media to build thriving and purposeful brands. He's a certified social media marketer, content marketer per excellence, astute copywriter, and brand strategist based in the city of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. He graduated in 2015, retired from NYSC in 2017, and was broke and jobless in 2018. And he has been able to take his joblessness as a challenge to create a better life for himself. From randomly learning a new skill and volunteering to work for his aunt for free, he was able to discover a new passion that didn't just add value to lives, but took him from being a broke and jobless Nigerian youth to becoming a six-figure earner just from preferring digital solutions to brands. He is the founder of Royal Mindsmith, which started in 2017, and is a motivational media company sold out to personal development, advocacy, and helping people to become the best version of themselves. He is also the founder of citymagnet.com, a music promotion and entertainment blog devoted to helping rising stars promote their talent online. He recently started an internet brand called Influence 365, a platform which he uses to coach and teach online entrepreneurs, coaches, and freelancers how to build their influence and monetize their brilliance on social media. He has over 1,500 personal brands that have gone through his online trainings in the past 1 year. He has a vast experience working with professionals from different industries such as legal, medical, entertainment, aviation, media, cosmetics industry, amongst others. Some of the brands he's worked with include Matilda Lambert, who is a Nollywood actress and producer, Nengi, an ex-Big Brother reality TV show star, Dr. Right Africa, The Legal Concierge, Touch Sports Media, FBH Cosmetics, Topface Nigeria, amongst others. He is currently the social media director at Gateway International Church and personal social media to Pastor George Izunwa, the lead pastor. Part of his core competencies in digital marketing include content marketing, social media management, brand strategy and marketing, SEO writing, email marketing, digital automations, copywriting, product and graphics designing, video editing, and brand storytelling, to mention but a few. He is a strong advocate for beating the status quo and succeeding amidst life's challenges. When he's not in the digital space, he's usually practicing music. So everybody, please help me welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Fortune Wobidi, or as he would like to call himself, King Fortune Wobidi. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for the how do I say introduction? Brief introduction. All right. Without further ado, I think I'll just go straight to what we have for today. I'm glad to see Tella here. I'm glad to see Tella here. I believe others will join as the training starts. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about personal branding, what personal branding is, um, and how to leverage it um, to do something meaningful for yourself, um, despite of um, irrespective of the career path you decide to choose. All right, so we're going to be looking at building a consistent brand inside out. Okay, but before I go, like you can see my screen, so you can see the slide is already there. Okay, I love teaching with slides, by the way. So I'm just going to be heading right in. So I'll be starting with asking the question, what is a brand and what is branding to you? Tenor, I'd like to know your personal opinion on what a brand is. When you hear the word brand, what comes into your mind first of all?
A brand to me is like a business, a particular name that I don't know how to put it, but I know what a brand.
No, put it anyhow, anyhow.
Okay, so like Nike or Adidas, those are brands, and they produce, like in the case of the Nike and Adidas that I just called, they produce sports wear and stuff, and they produce those things under their brand. And yeah, that's how I
Okay.
can.
Okay, that's great. Those are brands, and there's obviously um, there's something that makes it easy to identify them. There's something that makes it easy to identify them. So those are brands. All right. So while we are talking, or while you were talking, we had someone join us, which is Lois. Lois, you're welcome. You're welcome to today's webinar. So we are talking about personal branding today, and I was just asking Tena what she understands by branding or the word brand. Whenever she hears the word brand, what comes into her mind first? So I would like to hear from you, Lois. When you hear the word brand, what comes to your mind first of all?
Oh, good evening. Well, sorry, when I hear the word brand, I think it's like is what comes to my mind is like something that uh, shows a particular company or something that is special to a particular company. So it's like a logo or anything that is for a particular company that other people don't use. So it's just for one person.
Okay, that's great. That's not far from the truth, but a logo is not. Um, you can't necessarily limit a brand to a logo per se. A logo is more like a brand asset that identifies a brand, so it falls under what we call brand identity. So we're going to be talking about that. So I think we can just get started. All right. Number one, first thing, a brand is a personality that identifies a product or service. All right. It is how people perceive you wherever they interact with your business. And it comprises of both the impressions that you can control and the ones that you can't control. Now, what this simply means is that people have certain perceptions and impressions of you once they meet you for the first time or they hear about you from what other people are saying. Now, you can't necessarily control it. I mean, you can't necessarily control it to an extent. Sorry, I think somebody's trying to join. Reiko Joy, sorry. Okay, welcome, Joy. I think this is the first time I'm seeing this person here. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're talking about personal branding in this webinar today. So we're just talking about what a brand is. And I said a brand is the personality that identifies a product or service, and it is how people perceive you wherever they interact with your business, both the impressions that you can control and the ones that you cannot. All right. So I was saying that people may have different perceptions of you. Some of them may be impressions that you're proud to hear or you're proud about. Yeah, some of them may be impressions that you may not necessarily like. Yeah, you don't have total control over what people think about you. But what you can do is that you can influence these impressions. You can influence the way people feel about you. And now a typical example or an everyday example that you may relate to, let's say you know somebody who is very, very rude and who is very saucy. Everybody believes or knows this person to be rude and saucy. And then this person goes on a self-evaluation kind of test and then gets opinions from other people about how they perceive her to be and starts consciously working on certain aspects of her life that reflects her as being rude and saucy. So it's not going to like happen overnight. It's going to take time, definitely, but it will get to a point where people will now start seeing the new version of her. Now, at that point, now what you're going to say is that she's influencing that perception that was already existing, the bad perception people already had about her. So a brand is likewise the same thing. A brand is likewise the same thing. You cannot control it. You can't control the brand, but you can influence. But you can influence it. All right. So that's what a brand is basically. Now, this quote I always say: if you're not known for something, you'll be tagged anything. All right, you'll be tagged anything. And one thing that branding does is that it singles you out from other people or other products or whatever offering the same thing or the same services or products that you have to offer. So if you have like 5,000 people doing the same thing that you do, you actually want to stand out from those 5,000 people. You don't want to be seen as a commodity because if you are the same as everybody, you're more like a commodity. There's nothing that singles you out. And a total example or an example of a commodity is an orange. You can get orange from anywhere. You can get orange from anywhere without bothering what it's going to taste like and all that. I know, yes, there may be something that may be ripe, some may be unripe and all, but you obviously know that you can get orange from any rose seller. But then when you're talking about Five Alive Poppy, you cannot compare Five Alive Poppy to orange, even though um, it still has it's still made of orange to an extent, and I think with some other ingredients and all. But you can tell that this is different from this other stuff. So now if you're looking at yourself now, coming down to personal branding, you want to make sure that people know you for something, and not like when they ask about you, not like when they ask about you, they can't really pinpoint like say, okay, what's your known for? If I tell you, okay, Cristiano Ronaldo, you obviously know Cristiano Ronaldo is a footballer. If I say, okay, let's talk about Kim Kardashian, you obviously know who she is. If you talk about Chris Brown, you already know who he is and all. So you have to be known for something. All right. That's so we're going to be looking at the definition of a personal brand from what you can see on my slide here. A personal brand is basically you. All right. That's everything that you are, everything that people believe you to be, and everything you do is part of your brand. From what you wear, how you answer your phone calls, your text messages, your emails, your interpersonal interactions. What that simply means is your relationship with other people. They all form a brand called you. All right. So you're a brand. Gone are the days when you look at brands that people that are already popular have some level of influence, celebrities. Today now, everyone is their own celebrity. That means you are your own celebrity. Lois is her own celebrity. Tenna is her own celebrity. Joy is her own celebrity. Ivy and Annalise. They are all celebrities in their field. All right. So long as you have people who believe in you, you have people who trust you, you have some kind of influence over some people, you're a celebrity already. You're a brand. All right. So you're known for something. Now, let's move forward. A brand's worth is as good as its name. I said the name Cristiano Ronaldo is worth $500 million, all right, which is quite a lot of money if you should convert that to the Nigerian currency. Um, Kim Kardashian is worth $1.8 billion. And now the one that's going to blow your mind is Elon Musk, currently the richest man in the world right now. His name is worth over $239 billion. Now, it is way, way, way higher than this. Well, from the last research I made, this is what I found. So it's worth this amount of money, right? So now, one question I'll ask you now: what are you worth? The name it's not a comparison anyway, but think about this: like, what are you worth currently? What do you want to be worth in the nearest future? So these are things that you actually want to start thinking about now. So how do you what's the roadmap you're going to pave for yourself that you're going to follow to be what you want to be worth at the end of the day? So it's something you need to sit down and think about. All right, let's move further. What then is branding? I know you can see some logos of some brands here. Like Tena said, she talked about Nike and the likes. These are popular brands. Once you see the brand, once you see the logos, you can just identify, okay, this is Pepsi, and this is Starbucks, this is Virgin, Sony, and all that. So now we're looking at what branding is. Now, branding is the process of creating a brand. Simply put, branding is the process of creating a brand. So it is the process of creating a strong, positive perception of your company or yourself, because now you're a one-man company. I actually treat myself as a company. Yeah. If you want to build yourself as a personal brand, you need to look at yourself not just, yes, you're a human being, but look at yourself as an entity, look at yourself as a company. So that means you need to have structure, you need to have structure to your life. You need to have your goals, your visions. You need to have your core values. All those things are going to be part of your structure as a one-man company. You have people now these days now answering agencies. I could just start an agency with Fortune Wobidi agency, and then you now ask like, how many staff do you have in your agency? And I'm like, just myself. And you're like, how? I don't understand. I mean, yes, of course, provided I can do everything. I have a structure, I have job descriptions I work with. I probably have automation tools that could do for me what I would need people to do for me. For example, I can have scheduling tools, social media scheduling tools that could schedule my posts. I could have tools that help me research content, AI tools that can help me research other contents and write on my behalf. So I could actually form a one-man agency out of what I know. Now, so in branding, you're looking at creating a strong positive perception of you, all right, and whatever your product is. So let's say you have a digital product now, you're a course creator or a digital creator. You're trying to create a positive perception. What do people think of your content? Do they think of your content as trash, like you don't offer any real value, you just go out producing trash? Or do they see it as something that is really, really valuable that um, they could advocate for? All right. So that's what it's about. So you are looking at creating this perception in the minds of your customers and your target audience. Right. So um, now, branding is about telling a positive, compelling story to a clearly defined audience. Now, we are going to come to this a clearly defined audience who would stake their lives for you in the good and bad seasons. All right. If you can see the illustration down there, you see that the arrows, all the arrows are targeting one particular spot. It shows that it's not for everybody, right? So in branding, you're not for everybody, all right? You're for a select few, right? So you need to be clear on who your audience are. Who are the people you want to serve? So all the brands you see out there, Coca-Cola, um, you have Coca-Cola, you have Five Alive, you have Nike, you have all of them. They have clearly defined target audience or clearly defined target audiences now. Now, depending on the nature of the brand, you could have more than one audience. You could have like two or three audiences, and what we now call that is audience segmentation. So you have different segments of your target audiences, but you make sure that whatever you're doing, whatever message you're sending out is tailored to those audiences that you have. Now, moving forward, okay, I think I've done talked about this a lot. So branding is about selling an experience that only your brand can deliver on or does better than anyone else. All right. Make sure you're doing this thing. It's not about being in the mix, it's about being the best, something that makes you outstanding, something that makes you different, something that makes you unique, that people can actually remember your name for it. So that's one of the upsides of branding. That's what branding does for you, right? So without further ado, we're going to be looking at 11 golden steps to building a consistent brand inside out. But before I go further, I would like to know if you're following the class, just leave an emoji in the chat window below so I can see it. Just leave an emoji there. Then I'm going to write now. Just leave an emoji in the chat window and then I'm going to continue. Okay, I've seen and see none, right? Okay, I can see Lois. This emoji, I don't know if it is what to call it. All right, Lois. Then I'm waiting to hear from you. All right. So that being said, I think I can go. And I think that emoji is for people in like Genesis Cinema. Is that a popcorn? All right. Okay, so yes, this is a self-evaluation test, all right? Because if you're going to build a personal brand for yourself, you're going to do some self-evaluation, all right? So the first thing you need to know, or the first question you need to answer is, how do people see me, all right? How do people see your brand? That's one. And you're going to be appealing to, if you notice what I did here, I try to appeal to your five senses: sense of taste, sense of sight, sense of hearing, and all that. Because actually, these five senses come alive when you talk about a brand, right? If I tell you, if you've tasted Kili Grill's shawarma before, and I talk about their shawarma, automatically the taste starts resonating in your mind. It's already playing out in your mind. The smell, hot shawarma, or if I talk about market square bread, you can already imagine the hotness and how soft it is and all that. These things already appeal to your senses, all right? So now in the self-evaluation test, you're looking at number one, how do people see you? All right. Do they see you as arrogant? Do they see you as shabby looking person? Do they see you, as this pain looking flyboy and whatever? So the next thing is, what do people hear about your brand? So what are other people saying about your brand? All right. Is it good? Is it something you're proud of? Is it something you're satisfied with? Then how do people feel about your brand? Do they have positive sentiments or positive feelings towards your brand, or negative feelings? How does your brand smell? Now, smell is very important. Every human being, can I shock you? Every human being has a unique smell. In fact, every family has a unique smell. Take it or leave it. Now, this has nothing to do with perfume. We're coming to perfumes. But every family, I don't know the way God did it, but every family has a unique smell. You just notice that these people, these brothers and sisters, they are smelling, they have this particular smell. It makes them different from other maybe families around there and all. So how does your brand smell? Do you have body odor? Is there a particular way you smell? So you need to look at this. So what I'm trying to say here is that you need to be very, very, very mindful of the way you smell, because you're looking at a personal brand. You're going to be around people. You're going to attend meetings. You're going to attend parties, hangouts, and all that. People, what smell are people picking about you? Because it says a lot about your brand. If you want to really brand yourself, it means you need to package yourself. You need to carry yourself very well. You need to carry yourself in a, would I say, a royal manner? Yeah, I use the word royalty a lot. Anyways, so you need to carry yourself very well, and that means you need to be very, very intentional about the way you smell. Get perfumes. It's gone are the days when you say, okay, some of our fathers they criticize perfumes, but not in this day and age. I mean, I wouldn't want to stand near somebody and then you're smelling like a rat. No. So, how does your brand smell? how does your brand taste? If they should equate your brand to something you can taste, what is it going to be like? Are they going to would I say paint your brand as a lollipop kind of brand? Is do you taste like suya? Do you taste like goat meat? Is this something nice? Is it like ice cream? Basically, all these things are things you actually want to look out for. So you need to associate your brand with something that people can actually taste. So if they're talking about your brand, this person's brand is so. You hear people use the word sweet a lot. And when you hear the word sweet, on a normal day, you're like, how would they say this guy is sweet? Like, I don't understand. Why would he be sweet? Can you taste him? Of course, you can taste him. Not physically, like with your tongue anyway, but you can have a taste of what this person is like. That's what it's just trying to say. So, there is this mental imagery that your brand is supposed to evoke in people's minds and hearts. Right. So, you need to look at that. Now, okay. Next. Now, number one, know who you are. Now, knowing who you are is the first step to nurturing and developing the brand called you. As some legendary philosopher Socrates puts it, man know thyself. And I always say to my students, you cannot grow yourself until you know yourself. You cannot grow yourself until you know yourself. So you need to know certain aspects of you. You need to know your strengths, all right? Because if you know your strengths, you know where you should put in more efforts in, that you're going to be getting more results than forcing yourself, putting in so much effort into what is not going to give you any results. All right? So, the checklist number one, who are you? What do you love? What makes you unique? What are your hobbies and your dislikes? What's your story? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What's that thing that you will still do even if you were not paid for it? Even if they weren't paying you for it, what's that thing you would still do? Me, I will still do music because music to me is like it's life. Yeah, I will still do music. I will still talk to other people. I will still try to motivate other people to become the best versions of themselves because that's what I really enjoy doing. I love talking to people a lot. I love listening to people, hearing their perspectives and all that. So that's something I love doing. Even if you don't pay me for it, I can talk and keep talking. All right. So you need to know what what's that one thing that you would still do even if you weren't paid for it. All right. That's going to help you identify what your true passion is. Now, the next thing you want to do is to clarify your brand message. Now, what is your brand about? Do you have a mission statement? What's your long-term vision for your brand? All right. How do you want your brand to be perceived? All these things are going to be, these questions are going to guide you in forming your brand message. They're going to guide you in forming your brand message, right? Yes. Now we're going to be looking at how to create a vision statement because you actually need a vision statement for your brand. Now, the first thing you want to look at is think of nouns that best describe who you are. So, do you want to be known as a teacher? Do you want to be known as a coach? Do you want to be known as an instructor, a problem solver, or a musician? All right. So, think about the noun that is going to best describe you. Now, add verbs of how you would like the word to be or how you would like to be in the world. Now, would you like to inspire people? Would you like to educate people? These are verbs. Would you like to inform people? Would you like to sell to people? Then, thirdly, add a picture of what a perfect world will look like to you. Now, for me, I picture a world where people are free to live their best possible, right? Despite the hurdles they are going to be facing, despite the seasons of life, they're just living their best life, all right? So that's why I love motivating people a lot. A lot of my posts, if you follow me on my Facebook and my social media handles, you see I post a lot of motivational stuff, especially on my Facebook page, right? That's something I'm intentional about. So you can see mine here, and my vision is to inspire and help people to become the best versions of themselves, right? Now, from the above, now you can see the noun that I used to describe myself. I obviously love being a motivator or a life coach, right? And you can already see what my picture of a perfect world is like. I picture a world where people are free to become the best, or where people become the best versions of themselves. All right. So you want to think about this when you're forming your vision statement. All right. Now, there's no one size fits all, but this is like the model I use. This is the model I use, and is what I can recommend for you. Okay. So without further ado, you can see Oprah Winfrey's vision statement is to be a teacher and to be known for inspiring her students to be more than they thought they could be. It's similar to what mine is anyway, but you can see that she seeks to be a teacher. All right. So that being said, next thing we're going to be looking at is establish your brand values. So what are the things that you believe in? Your brand values are a set of guiding principles that shape every aspect of your business. All right, they affect the choices that you make and the actions that you take. All right, so those are your brand values, and your brand values are good because they are going to help to bring your brand back into perspective or back in order when you start going off course, right? So that's what, or those are the things that your brand value does for you. Now, when establishing your brand values, you need to look at the things you believe in or you hold in high esteem. You also need to look at the virtues that your brand is centered around and what attributes that you want to be associated with your brand. So you think about it. What are the things I genuinely believe in? Happiness. I believe in friendship. That's I'm talking for myself now. I believe in friendship. I believe in happiness. In fact, I believe in the word happiness. That's why anybody who comes around me, you always see me happy. You rarely ever see me feeling the other way. All right. It's not like I don't feel sad sometimes and all, but majority of the times in the public space, you usually see me as a very, very happy person. So that's something I value a lot. And friendships too. I make a lot of friends, a whole lot. I love talking to people. I'm a social butterfly. So that forms part of who I am as a personal brand. All right. So what are the attributes I want my brand to be associated with? I want my brand to be associated with happiness. That's why I love being happy. I love communicating it. Even in my colors, the way I talk, the way I carry myself, I'm always intentional about that. So that's something you want to look at if um you're working on your personal brand. I already told you that your brand values are strongholds that bring your brand back into perspective in case you start going off course. Okay, and we still have a few more minutes. Then define and research your target audience. You're not called to everybody. Decide who your tribe is, find them and go after them. All right, you need to know the exact people that you're looking to target. And for SWORD, for example, now we already have a clearly defined target audience that we are looking at young people between the ages 10 to 20. It's clear and precise. And there is a reason why we choose to work with people around that age range. So for you now, for your own brand, whatever it is, you need to have a clearly defined target audience. And your target audience, you need to know their pain points. In fact, I'm just going to go to the next slide. You need to know have a detailed understanding of who your target audience are. You need to know where they congregate online. You need to know their interests, their desires, especially their fears. You need to know their fears because it helps you to appeal to their emotion on a deeper and emotional level. All right. So you need to define who your target audience is. I would have loved to talk about your target audience persona here, but because of time, I think I'm just going to skip this. But when you're identifying your target audience, you need to look at the place, look at the age, the time, the occupation, the likes and the dislikes of the target audience, their fears and their goals. Okay, I already talked about that, but these are things that you need to take note of amongst other things as well, right? Just going to move to the next slide. All right, number five, know your onion and grow your onion. Yes. So how well do you know your onion? Does your onion make people cry or is it a laughing stock? Now, when I talk about onion, I mean what is that thing that you have to give, your value that you have to give to your target audience? How well do you know that thing that you want to, your value proposition or that thing that you're putting out there for people? Now, when you build your onion or when you know how to leverage or build this into a point, you're going to establish your expertise, authority, and trust because people are going to see you as an expert in that thing that you're doing. They will see you as an authority and they will end up trusting you more. All right. So your onion in this context, like I said, it stands for your field. What field did you decide to go into? Your niche, your industry. Are you going into entertainment? Are you going into fashion? Are you going into education? Are you going into religion? You need to pick where you really want to serve and where you know you're good at, and then you hold it very well and grow and learn. So let's say you pick a skill like graphic design, which is not just a skill, which is also a profession as well. You need to know how to do it very well. That's what number five is just talking about. You need to identify it and you need to grow in that area of practice. Right? Now, the next thing you need to do, and okay, you can achieve this by investing in knowledge and connecting to mentors in your field. So, for example, you decide that graphic design is the area that you want to be good at. You want to be known as a very, very good graphic designer. You need to, first of all, invest in knowledge. Take courses. Like I'm a die-hard addict of learning, especially things I'm interested in. I can't literally count the number of certifications I've had like for my social media trainings. Okay, let me not say certification, but the social media trainings I've taken over the years, even the ones I've been certified and the ones I've not been certified in, like it's quite a lot. And it has all contributed to what I am or who I am today. So you need to invest in knowledge and then you need to connect to mentors, people who have gone ahead of you. Because the truth is that every road that you're trying to take has already been taken by somebody else. There is no new road on this earth. There is nothing new under the sun. Whatever you think that you want to do now, it's already been done by somebody else. One way or the other, maybe not exactly the way you want to do it now, but I bet you in a little way, one way or the other, somebody has done something similar. So you need to connect to mentors and then learn from them as well because connecting to mentors keeps you accountable because you know these people are checking and tracking your growth to know how well you are doing. All right. Okay. Now, I said seven golden rules. I'm almost done. So, number six, craft a brand positioning statement. And now, your positioning statement is what singles you out from others offering the same service as you. All right, is what positions you as an authority in your field. You can see that these are all from my image here, these are all pencils, but obviously, there's one that stands out from them. So, that is what brand positioning does. Give me a minute, guys. I need to. Hello, yeah. Sorry, I had to fix some noise issues. All right. So yes, your positioning statement singles you out from others doing what you do. All right. Now, your positioning statement should highlight who you are, what you do, or the products or services that you have to render. Your target market, which is obviously your target audience. All right. Then your value proposition is simply um, the value, the extra value you have to give. All right. The alternative is your competitor, basically. and the key differentiator is what makes you different from your competitors. Um, so this is a typical example. Coca-Cola's brand positioning statement is for individuals looking for high quality beverages. Coca-Cola offers a wide range of the most refreshing options. Each creates a positive experience for customers when they enjoy a Coca-Cola brand drink. Unlike other beverage options, now you now see that this is a key, and you can see this is the alternative now. Unlike other beverage options, Coca-Cola products inspire happiness and makes a positive difference in customers' lives. You can see this is a key differentiator from the alternative, like we looked at in the previous slide. And then, and the brand is intensely focused on the needs of consumers and customers. If you check Coca-Cola, they are always communicating these positive, happy vibes a lot. You can see even in their adverts, even in their brand marketing strategy, you see them do stuff like share a cook with Emeka, share a cook with Tena, share a cook with Lois. All right, all those things are very, very intentional because they are all about living the happy moments. So you walk into a restaurant and then you want to get coke and you start looking for share a cook with your name. You're looking to find your name, and if you guys are two now, you'll be like, okay, you look for your name. If the other person has his or her own name there, you guys will buy your cokes and then you go and share it. It was just encouraging people to bond, people to share happy moments together. They were all about making a positive, or not they are all about making a positive difference in the customer's life. I don't know how many of you can relate to that. If you remember when they were doing this Coca-Cola share a coke with Emeka and Co. Just raise your hands, let me see. All right, then I raise your hands. Okay, so it was very, very, very intentional. That's what they were doing with that. They were trying to communicate their brand. And so your positioning statement should have all this in there. You can see here who Coca-Cola is. They've told you. You can see who they are for, what they do, the products that they have to render, their target market, the value they have to give. All right, and they tell you of the key differentiator is obvious. They tell you that unlike other beverage options, which are the alternatives, they now tell you their key differentiator. Yeah, so when you're writing your own brand positioning statement, you want to look at that, look at all these things I've mentioned there, and then add them. So the video is going to be out on YouTube, so you can go over the video again and then refresh your memory. All right, then last but not the least, now choose the visual elements that speak for your brand. All right, the visual elements that speak for your brand. Now decide on consistent colors that clearly communicate your brand and make sure they are in line with your brand values. Same goes for your logo, same goes for your font and other visual elements. Now, Tena, you mentioned logo initially. Is it Tena that mentioned logo or Lois? One of you mentioned logo at the beginning when you were trying to talk about a brand. And I told you that, okay, yes, logo is part of it, but a brand is not a logo per se. A logo is part of the things that identify a brand. And Lois, in your graphic design class, you would have learned that during the fundamentals of graphic design. So basically, your logo is part of what we call your brand identity. All right, and there are quite a number of things that are part of your brand identity. Your font is part of your brand identity. Your colors is all part of your brand identity as well, because these are things that will make it easy to identify your brand. For me, it's obvious here now. It's obvious that my colors are three: yellow, white, and black. And that's why if you check through the slides, I've been using the colors interchangeably because I'm trying to communicate what my brand is and what my brand feels like. And now I didn't just choose these colors out of the blues or random. I chose them because they communicate what my brand is and what I believe in. Now, they all have meanings. In fact, I'll recommend you guys go after this class and or this webinar and browse on color psychology because each color has something they communicate. White, for example, communicates clarity, simplicity. I looked at myself and I'm a very, very simple person. And I also looked at each time I have a session with somebody or a client, I expect them, or each time I teach somebody, I expect them to gain clarity, for them to understand in the simplest way as possible. So I looked at the color that is going to speak for me and I chose white. And then I looked at my personality. I want people to feel this friendship each time they come around me. They should feel warmth when they come around me. I looked for a color that will communicate that warmth and happiness, friendship, and I looked at yellow. Yellow helps me communicate that. And I also said I want people to feel more powerful each time they encounter my brand. If they were having doubts in themselves, if they didn't believe in themselves before, they are going to feel strong afterwards. And then I thought about the color that communicates power and influence, and then I looked at black because black communicates power. So you can see that these colors are not just random. These are things I actually value. And then I chose the colors to speak for myself. So now you have to go back to the drawing board after this webinar and decide on the visual elements that speak for your brand and try to make sure you communicate it, especially if you're doing anything online. I make sure if you check my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, everywhere, you must see, even if not so much, you must see a touch of yellow or black or white. Check it anywhere you find me. So it's very, very, very intentional. So I think I'm just going to stop here today because time is already fast spent, and I'll just like to entertain your questions at this point. Yes, so please feel free to unmute your mic. If you have a question, kindly just ask. So I'll just answer it before we call it a day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fortune, for that amazing session. I mean, from explaining in detail what a personal brand is, you move from there to give us like real and relatable examples of personal brand. And you even told us um, your own story and why you chose colors and stuff that resonate with your person and your brand. I'm sure that we've picked up a few things. So please, if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand or unmute your mic and speak. You guys have been with us from the beginning, so you know that there's no formality here, more or less. So please just feel free. Go ahead and ask your question.
The floor is open. Divine, you're joining really late when we are literally done. Yeah, ask your question, Tena.
I just wanted to say that I understood. I had a few network issues, so I wasn't in part of the webinar. But for the parts um, where I was available, I got the whole point of what we're talking about. So I don't think I have any questions.
Okay, that's great. Thank you,
Okay, I
Tena.
have a question for you.
Okay.
I have a question for you, sir. So there's some people that, just like Tena mentioned, she had network challenges and she had to go off the call. And for Divine that is just joining and she probably doesn't know what we talked about, I'm wondering, is it possible for you to share your slides so they can go through it, and then if a question comes up as usual, they can either send a message on the Slack channel or on the WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay. It's not a problem. I'm going to drop the slides, access to the slides. You can get it on our Slack channel and on WhatsApp as well. So yeah, the slides will be available.